for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councillor Olson.
Here.
Bridge.
Here.
Bender.
Here.
Mertzick.
Here.
McDonald.
Here.
Henry.
Here.
Finsland.
Here.
Herrick.
Here.
McKenzie.
Here.
Dahlbeck.
Here.
Nowicki.
Here.
And Sather.
Here.
Good. We'll have the approval in minutes. Okay, Councillor Bender and Councillor McDonald. Any discussion?
That's all right. Take it, Denise. Take it.
I say until you've sat up here, you don't know. And I'm pretty sure it's not other voices I'm hearing. I think they're all yours. And Warren is the traffic cop down there, so I kind of watch and take some guidance there. Okay. Any discussion? Or if you'd like to change the seconder, whatever you'd like to do. Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Minutes are approved. We have no public hearings.
Item 6 is a consent agenda. Item 6.14 has been withdrawn.
Motion by Councilor Finland, and okay, we need a second. Second by Councilor Dahlbeck. Discussion, Councilor Bender.
My mic on. I would like to pull 613, 6.13.
Okay, which means, okay, this is a referral.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to speak against the referral.
No, I'm just going to add one note that maybe should have been included in the...
Okay, good. Councilor Olson.
Item 616, Article 1 and Article 2, please.
Okay, 1 and 2. Okay, 616, Article 1 and 2, and Councilor Bender, 613, and 614 has been pulled already. So, any others? Okay, I'll ask for the approval of the balance of the consent agenda. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 6.13.
6.13, Councilor Bender, on behalf of the Superior and Duluth Rotary Clubs, requesting to install a Rotary sign on the Barker's Island band shell. This is a referral to the Park and Rec Commission.
I need a motion and a second. Motion by Councilor Bender, second by Councilor Dahlbeck. Discussion? Mr. Bender.
Yes, I just wanted to add one brief note in here, and that's that the Rotary clubs will supply and pay for the sign.
Okay. With that additional information for the referral, seeing no responses, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 6.13 passes.
6.16, Item 1 is Public Works Committee, August 18th meeting recommendation to receive and file concerns regarding train horns.
And then number 2.
Are we taking them separately or together?
Yeah, we can take them separately. Yeah, that would, yeah. Okay, I need a motion and a second.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Olson, second by Mr. Bender. Discussion, I see 2, so I'll take Mr. Olson first.
I guess I want to find out if it's fitting if I ask the committee a question on number 1.
Yeah, which committee members do we have here?
Public Works.
Yeah, I think that'd be fine. Sure.
Regarding the train horns, we've had some additional instances come up where there was complaints filed with the police department with an incident in South Superior that a train horn blew for over 5 minutes steady, and I think your office too, Mr. Mayor.
We're hearing no end of the train horn issue.
I guess so. To receive and file this, if we've got new instances coming up, if there was any way that we could hold in committee again or bring it back, if we could refer the train horns back to Public Works with an additional information. So if I could, I'd like to refer this back to Public Works.
Okay, we have an overriding motion, a motion to refer back, and second by Councilor Bridge. So then that'll end discussion and be referred back. So I have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion on whether it should be referred or not? That's the only discussion.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, and you all both agree? Mr. Henry?
Dan said something about he wanted to ask a question of the committee. Is that?
Well, because it got referred, it ended discussion, and then on the referral, the discussion will take place back in the committee. So Is that satisfactory?
Well, I think we didn't see an end to it. And we were waiting, for the information that didn't seem to be coming.
Okay.
And so we continued it several times in the committee, and then we just received and filed it, and I don't think that I'm not anyway opposed to holding a committee if
Okay.
the council wishes that.
Good. I think Mr. Bridge and Mr. Olson both have very incredibly valid reasons to bring this back, so.
Yes, we do.
Seeing no more discussion on that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. 6.16, number 1, goes back to committee.
Item 2 is to receive and file Counselor Olson's request to review traffic speed in the Butler Park area.
Motion
Need a
approved.
motion a second.
Motion.
Motion by Counselor Olson, seconded by Mr. Merzick? No. Mr. McDonald, okay. Well, I'll take turns. Counselor Olson.
Okay, this is for clarification more than anything. I have no problem with receiving and filing this with the traffic speed. What had happened is Assistant Chief Legess and Sergeant McGillis, I had brought this up with them, I went to committee, and they were actually out the next day bringing the speed cart out there. And after working a couple days or something like that, we found out that it was malfunctioning. So there was some physical presence out there, and I just want to thank you for following up with that. I don't know if the speed trailer's been fixed or not, but the people in Butler Park were pretty pleased about it. So all I want to do is clarify that it's been taken care of.
Very good, thank you. Thank you, Counselor Olson. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Number 6.16, number 2 passes.
Item 7 is business by department heads. 7.1, Planning Director Cirque is recommending to approve the request from Carl Miller, East End Business Group, to place temporary signage to announce the East End Family Fun Day on September 18th.
Motion by Counselor Dahlbeck, second by Counselor Bender. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 7.1 passes.
7.2, Planning Director Cirque is submitting the 2010 Duluth Superior Harbor Partnering Agreement.
Motion by Counselor Dahlbeck. Second by Counselor Hendry. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 7.2 passes.
7.3, Assistant Public Works Director Getzman is requesting authorization to award the on-call services to R.E. Magnuson.
Motion by Counselor Bender, second by Counselor Dahlbeck. Any discussion? Counselor McKenzie.
Yeah, Jeff, I just wanted to ask you a question. I see you went to the lowest bidder, but I don't see anything on here about cost. You talked about a prior cost, that they beat the prior cost, but what is that cost?
Yeah, it varies by, there's several different items of work in this contract, and it should have been included in here probably, but it's everything from per lawn for mowing services to board ups for abandoned homes to those different kind of things. We can certainly get you numbers and bring that back here if you'd like to see that. We did have these bidders put in numbers earlier, and as it says in the memo, the one we had on board went out of business, and we're back to taking our next lowest bidder.
Yeah. And like I say, I know what this was all about, or for and including the illegal dumping, and that alone is a full-time job of picking that stuff up. So, but I was just curious as to what I didn't see anything on here, any of the bids on here. So, if you could, I'd appreciate it. Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, Counselor Olson.
I guess I'd like to know who R.E. Magnuson is. I know who Badger Storage is, but with an acronym of R.E., are they local? Are they insured? Are they bonded? Do they fall under the city's contract requirements?
Yeah, and Nancy went through this whole process, and they would qualify. I guess I can't explain without more background information who that exactly is, but they're local to us, and they have all the proper credentials, and we're qualified as a bidder.
Do we have a name?
I don't have one for you right now. I could get it, though.
Counselor Herrick. Oh, I'm sorry. Counselor Olson, was there more comment? Counselor Herrick.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, Jeff, are these people required to carry liability insurance?
Yeah, they're required to have insurance of their own, yep.
Okay, thanks.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 7.3 passes.
7.4, Assistant Public Works Director Getzman is requesting approval to enter into a contract agreement with the Army Corps of Engineers for design and construction assistance for the ultraviolet disinfection system at the wastewater treatment plant.
Motion by Counselor Finzen, second by, heard a lot of voices, Counselor Dahlbeck. Any discussion? Seeing none, excuse me, Counselor Herrick.
I was just going to ask, do we have the funds for this project already, or?
We do. It was, it's budgeted in the year 2011, and so when we brought forward the 2010 budget for wastewater, it was included as a future estimated purchase, and then there's also some grant funding that we're anticipating associated with this project.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and then we had Counselor Bender.
Yes, I have a question for Jeff. He already answered it for me, but I'd like everybody else to hear it. Can you give us this grant figure?
Yeah, absolutely, Counselor. The total project is estimated for the UV disinfection and pH control at about $3.6 million in cost, and we have $1,215,000 total in grants. $950,000 is from the Section 154 program through the Army Corps, and there is some through the Clean Water State Revolving Fund as well, the balance of that.
Okay, seeing no more questions, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 7.4 passes.
7.5, Park and Rec Administrator Morgan is submitting the Memorandum of Understanding for the Lake Superior National Estuarine, slaughtered that, Research Reserve.
The first was Counselor Herrick, and the second was Hendry. Second was Counselor Bridge. Any discussion? Counselor Hendry.
Right, if I understand this right, the money is going to be, the program and the federal money and the whole shebang is going to be at a minimum for research and then possibly for a type of education, I guess I'd call it, where maybe they set up a building possibly, or they maybe do some kind of informational signs, or they do something where they educate the public to the realities of the estuary and help us to understand it a little bit better. And I believe they're going to do the research for sure, and then what they do for education is kind of up in the air. They might do some, they might not, and they're not too sure what they're going to do, if I understand it right. And I'm just kind of commenting that I hope they do something with the educational part as well. And I think it'd be really great for this area.
Mary Morgan?
The mission of the Lake Superior NER, Councilor Hendry, includes research, as you mentioned, education, outreach, and stewardship. And not only do their plans call for educating students, they call for educating educators, leaders like yourselves, the general public, and visitors. So they have some 7 or 8 objectives with stated goals and a mission and vision. And the educational piece, as time unfolds and the plans come into place, will cover all of those groups that I mentioned, I believe. So I think it's not up in the air, and it's not a small piece of their mission.
Are you aware of anything concrete that they're going to do in the educational area?
Well, I would be just delighted to share these goals with you. I can read to you from them if you wish.
I'm probably aware of the goals, and I guess that I've read the goals. I'm happy with the goals, and I'm hoping for something concrete. I think that's what I was trying to say. If I didn't state it clearly,
I think your hopes will be met.
Okay.
But it is still, in the planning stages for precisely how they're going to meet their objectives.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
See no more discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Who say no? 7.5 passes.
Item 9 is business by counselors. 9.1, Counselors Finn and Bridge submitting the following, submitting committee appointments replacing Counselor Mertzick.
Motion by Counselor Finzen, second by Counselor Dahlbeck. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 9.1 passes.
9.2, Counselor Bridge is requesting reconsideration of action taken at the August 17th council meeting. Item 6.7, Finance Committee, August 12, 2010, Item 2, to approve the sewage credit of $5,084 to Jack Cameron.
Motion by Counselor Dahlbeck, seconded by Mr. Bridge. Any discussion? Seeing none, and if it refers, we'll get another opportunity at the committee. Is that correct?
Back to finance?
Yes.
Well, right now, the motion is to approve.
Okay, but for clarification, we're referring this back to finance, or is that an appropriate motion?
That would be, it would be appropriate, but
No, I guess.
you're requesting reconsideration of the action taken.
Reconsidering.
Is that correct?
I guess the way I see it is, the motion right now is to reconsider the action that was taken at the August 12th Finance Committee. If you have an appropriate number of yeses, obviously it would be, you'd be authorizing the reconsideration of the matter. That's not necessarily saying you'd be undoing the decision. At that point, depending on how that motion goes, it would be appropriate to field a motion to refer it to the committee, back to the Finance Committee if you felt it appropriate, or to act on the reconsideration here. So I hope that's clear. Right now, the motion is to reconsider. If there aren't enough yeses to reconsider, we're done. If there are, I think your decision would be to reconsider it now and act on it now, or to refer it back to the Finance Committee for their consideration at the committee level.
Could we entertain, Mr. Perrell, a motion to refer proceeding any consideration for items 9.2?
Well, I think it's appropriately before the council to reconsider.
Okay.
Because if the noes overwhelm the yeses on the motion to reconsider, there's nothing to reconsider, and in essence, you'd be adopting the decision by the Finance Committee, which apparently was to approve this credit. So I would urge you again to act on the motion to reconsider. That doesn't commit you to a decision one way or the other tonight if you want to refer it back to Finance.
Councilor Olson.
Doesn't a referral supersede the request
There's
of the
nothing to
motion?
refer. There's nothing to refer right now
I'd like
until you
to,
want to reconsider it.
okay. So for reconsidering it,
Why don't you vote on the motion to reconsider? If the noes overwhelm the yeses, there's nothing to refer because there's nothing to reconsider. If you
Gotcha.
if you do want to reconsider it, then it would be appropriate, I think, to field a motion to refer it to a committee.
Well, I'd like to make a comment. You know, my point here isn't to saddle somebody with a $5,000 bill that took place before he was the owner of the property, but it seems to me that there's this amounts to an encumbrance on the title where there's most certainly a title insurance policy or somebody that's responsible in the past for this bill. And so I would like to see this, I mean, referring it back to committee is fine, but I think reconsideration is appropriate in this case as there is someone from the past that actually does owe this amount.
So we're asking you to vote on it before I ask for this, is to reconsider the action of 9.2. Mr. McKenzie.
So if we vote yes to reconsider, what happens versus voting no to reconsider?
If you vote no, if the noes outweigh the yeses to reconsider, then obviously the motion to reconsider would fail, right? Are we we're grouping on that?
So where do you reconsider
If the
then?
yeses outweigh the noes on the motion to reconsider, then you as a body would be approving the act of reconsidering it. You wouldn't be necessarily approving payment or non-payment of the application for the sewer credit, you'd simply be open to reconsidering it. Now, whether you wanted to reconsider that tonight as a body of 10 or refer that back to the committee would remain to be seen. It sounds like there's at least a number of you that would be inclined to send it back to finance.
So if yes, and we vote to reconsider, and that goes through, could we then have it referred to committee tonight?
Of course.
Okay.
Mr. Bridge?
Well, I'd just like to point out that if a yes vote means the city might get this money, a no vote means it goes away for good.
Okay, I just don't want to put Mr. Jack Cameron in any jeopardy because he has signed up to speak to this issue, so I think for clarity, I'll have Mr. Cameron speak. How's that? You signed up to speak to it, so thank you. And if you come up to the mic and turn your mic on, you can, and you have 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I've got a handout. I don't think I have enough copies, but can I hand this out?
Sure, yes, go right ahead. The clerk will do it here.
I'll do it for you. I'll take care of it. No, I got mine. Okay, Mr. Mayor, city officials, honorable city council members, other concerned citizens, we purchased a house at 5223 First Street in Superior. We closed on October 27, 2009. When we applied for utilities, no mention was ever made about a previous past due balance. It was not until we went to pay our taxes in January of 2010 that we were told of some assessment. We figured this could not be. We had gone through a closing. There was a realtor and a closing company and a title company. We called the listing agent, Port Cities Realty, and Michelle Lyons. They stated they called SWLNP like they always do before every closing, and nothing was owed. Our investigation has revealed that there is a gap in the time between where the Water and Light removes a past due account from their books and to when the city places an assessment against the property title. If it was not for this gap, this would have been caught and it would have been paid at closing. We have pursued our title insurance, but they have told us, see Exhibit 1, they investigated the title prior to closing and found no sewage, water, or other special assessments. This was signed by Angie Harper of the city's clerk's office, if you see the signature at the bottom. As an exception to the title policy, see Exception 2. Once the title insurance is issued, then they have exceptions, and one of the exceptions is storm sewer, drainage, and sanitary district assessments. The bill in question is way overestimated anyway by the Water and Light. There was a pinhole leak 15 feet before the meter. When we asked the Water and Light how they estimated the usage, they eventually admitted they guessed it. And the leak was before the meter. They also admitted that they thought there was a basement, and there is no basement. It was on slab. It was slab on grade, and the water flowed out the doors, not down any drain, because we did not find any drain. So the whole premise of this bill in question that is now assessed against our house is incorrect. The Water and Light thought there was a basement that filled up with water, and there was not. On the settlement statement, Exhibit number 3, line 1303, it indicates the listing agent is to pay the final water, sewer, and sewage outside of closing. But again, the listing agent called the Water and Light, and a note had made to the account that no note had been made to the account that it had been removed, and that the county, and it was placed under assessment by the county. The city treasurer, Mr. Zukowski, stated that he had never seen this happen before, whereas an assessed amount was removed by the Water and Light, and during this dead zone time, the amount did not show up on the Water and Light accounts and did not show up on the city or county assessments. It didn't show up anywhere, and this is when we closed on the house. The title company, on their exclusion sheet, say they will not cover anything under closing, and I think that's indicated in that exhibit. The amount of the sewer charges that again were very inflated and incorrect by our estimate. Almost nothing flowed into the sewer, and the city now throws a 10% penalty on top of there, so that $5,000 some figure with the 10% penalty is $6,772. There's also penalties for interest and delinquent fees of $700, and we believe the total amount is $7,500, but some of that is the delinquent fee for not paying the taxes on time, which we tried to do.
Sir, you're at your time, sir.
Councilors, would you like to give him more time?
I'll make a motion to give him more time if he needs it.
Second? Okay. Thank you, Jack.
You have more time.
Continue.
Oh, I can have
We have a small procedure to limit 3 minutes, but
okay.
we've just granted you more time.
Okay. In the end, this is not our bill. The amount is grossly inflated as admitted by the Water and Light now, but they wouldn't give us anything in writing. The Finance Committee agreed to credit this bill, but one person changed their mind when a citizen stated that the title insurance should pay it. We investigated the title insurance action. Mr. Zukowski, the city treasurer, called the title insurance company and investigated this as well, and they have their exclusions, and that's indicated in the exhibit. And in closing, if the mayor and the council would credit this bill, interest and penalties, and equally important, work with the Water and Light and the people involved in transferring delinquent sewer bills to tax assessments so that this would not happen, so that this would happen on the same day and not have some type of dead zone for 2 or 3 weeks, whereas other property purchasers could have this very thing happen to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Appreciate that. Mr. Bridge.
I think this is the first time we've seen the exclusions on the title policy. Is that right, Dan? Yes. Yeah. And it isn't for lack of trying to get some information from title companies. The company that actually did the title work is not really the title insurance policy issuer, and they didn't provide us with any of this stuff. I guess my question would be to our attorney is if sanitary district assessments, if this applies, is that what this is? I mean, it's not storm sewer, so.
Please understand, the thing got dropped in front of me and I just missed it. I've not seen what you're looking at, so I'd be pretty hesitant to weigh in on
See it?
You know, I'd prefer not to shoot from the hip. If we're talking about a 6, 8, 10-page policy there and you're asking for me to weigh in on a legal opinion as to what it does and does not exempt, that's not something I'd probably answer on the spot anyway. Happy to take a look at it. I think I understand the gist of the issue, but again, these are all details we could crawl through if this matter were voted on to reconsider and were referred back to a committee of some sort.
Well, I guess I just want to add, it's not my intention to see this gentleman have to pay this bill, but I think it should still go back to committee so we can take a closer look.
Okay, call for the question. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. It goes back for reconsideration.
No, we need a motion to refer it back to finance?
Okay, thank you. Motion by Councilor Finsland, seconded by Councilor Bridge. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Goes back to finance.
Item 10.1 is a resolution setting a public hearing October 5th to blacktop the following alley between Tower and Banks Avenues and North 57th and 58th Streets.
Motion by Mr. Olson, second by Councilor Dahlbeck. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 10.1 passes.
10.2 is a resolution authorizing the transfer of property located at North 13th and Weeks Avenue to the Redevelopment Authority of the City of Superior.
Motion by Mr. Bender. Second by Esther Dahlbeck. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 10.2 passes.
11.1 is an ordinance amending the traffic code, deleting the two-way stop at North 34th Street and Tower Avenue Frontage Road, and adding a three-way stop at the North 34th and Tower Avenue Frontage Road.
Motion by Mr. Bender, second by Mr. McKenzie. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 11.1 passes.
11.2 is an ordinance introduced by the Public Works Department amending the traffic code, no night parking, between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. on Iowa Avenue from North 18th to 20th Streets, both sides from October 31st through April 1st only.
Motion by Mr. McKenzie, second by Councilor Bender. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. 11.2 passes.
11.3 is an ordinance introduced by Councilor Finsland prohibiting the sale, manufacture, purchase, or possession of synthetic cannabinoid within the City of Superior.
For approval.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Finsland, second by Councilor Dahlbeck. Discussion, Mr. Bender.
Actually, Councilor Olson's first.
Mr. Olson, then.
I'm glad that we're getting involved in this and taking part in this, and the city of Superior and everyone involved deserves a lot of credit. What I'd like to see in this ordinance is, in parentheses, marijuana. The average person on the street doesn't know what a cannabinoid is. And with these ordinances and resolutions that we bring forward, in the drug world, when people find out that we're prohibiting the sale, use, possession of one particular drug, tomorrow there will be another drug. And it's inevitable in our schools, as far down to the middle schools. There are children that are afraid to death to go to the middle school and to go to the high school as freshmen because they can buy drugs on the street, on the buses, in the parking lots, and we need to have ordinances or resolutions like this, get our police involved to enforce these, and let it be known that we're making a strong stand against these things. It's imperative to the future of our city, because if we've got a community that's afraid of the drug world, we're going to lose our children, not only to drugs, but to moving away, to going to other places that they figure may be safer, and it's not any safer anyplace else. So I really want to commend everybody that's been involved, but for the they're all on record here, but for the report, maybe for the telegram, Shelley, that the word marijuana be included in a parentheses or, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Bender.
Well, I was going to commend the same people, so I guess I will just echo that. Then I was also going to say that rather than marijuana, synthetic marijuana.
That's what I was going to say.
Because marijuana is already included. And about how many places in the city of Superior now sell K2 or all those other things?
None right now at this point. But we were in meeting with one of the distributors. They're certainly looking for broader and better markets and certainly looking for opportunities here in our community. And this is why Councilor Finsland and I took such drastic action to ask for this council to adopt this ordinance without going through due process, which would be committees and possibly a hearing. So this is why we did this. Councilor Finsland.
Yeah, it's unusual for me to suggest that we avoid the committee process because I've been such a stickler for that. But in this case, I think it's essential that we get this passed as rapidly as we can. And by passing this ordinance the way it stands tonight, we get it on our record. If we want to make amendments to it, it's certainly appropriate to do so at some other time. And I think Frog has done a remarkable job of collecting all the information he's needed to as quickly as he could so that we could get this on the agenda for tonight. It's been kind of a task for him and the police department to come up with all the information we needed. And I think by passing it as it stands tonight, we won't delay anything. If we start making amendments to it now, it's very likely that things will just take longer, and that's going to delay the process. If we can nip this in the bud, we can prevent some of the problems for our city, especially some of the workload on our police department.
Yeah, and I agree with Councilor Olson because this is a moving target, and this target's going to change all the time, and so will this ordinance over time. So I have to go to Councilor Mertzik next. Then Nowicki, and then
They all went dead whenever we got many on.
My mic was dead to begin with.
So he's using mine.
the reason why it's dead is there are too many lights on. So the system can only handle so many. I'll take Mr. Mertzik next, and then yes.
Hey, it works now.
Yes, if you all turn your lights on, it goes off. So.
Okay. Actually, I have 4 questions. Hopefully, you can help me with these, Chief Legess. Do you want them all at once, or do you want them one at a time? How about I'll give you I'll give you one at a time. How about first of all, how often right now are we finding this stuff on individuals here in Superior? Oh, turn mine off. I'll turn mine off. There you go.
I'll turn mine off.
Very good.
Green light is I don't remember from
That's an easy question to answer. As I'm not aware that we have found it here. We questioned our narcotics officers on that point. Are you hearing that people are using it here, or have our officers recovered it? And to this point, I don't know that we have.
Okay. And so my second question then is, have you read any studies that indicate that this contributes to crime in other jurisdictions? Have you seen any evidence that this substance actually contributes to felonies or any kind of crime, any kind of crime, really? And let me clarify that. Kind of, I guess my question would be, alcohol contributes to crime. We can probably agree on that.
I would agree with that.
In that sort of way, does it contribute to crime?
I'm only familiar with a few anecdotal stories of people who have, while under the effects of the drug, experienced hallucinations and paranoia, and have been involved in acts of aggression or knowingly fleeing a police officer resulting in an accident. So I'm familiar with crime that is a result of the high that people get from this drug. As far as it fueling crime as an epidemic, like methamphetamine causes robberies and burglaries and the like, as they seek money to fund their habit, I haven't seen that with this drug or familiar with any studies that say that.
Now, this is a health question. And I researched this online a bit, is there any empirical evidence or any evidence that indicates that this is a huge health risk? And I think we can all agree that it's a drug. And, caffeine, alcohol, they all have pretty well-known health risks. Is there any studies out there that indicate that this is as bad as any other drug?
I'm not familiar with the studies that you'd be. I'm convinced there are studies out there. I've seen them referenced, but I haven't read the studies.
Okay. So we're kind of, as far as the health risk angle, we're kind of just assuming that it's bad for us. Would that be fair to say? Or
I think one of the issues with this substance is exactly what's in it. There is the active ingredient, the mood-altering substance, and there's other substances, toxic substances, that are believed to cause some of the side effects that people using it have experienced, including the elevated heart rate and the vomiting. What substance caused that reaction? It's unknown because exactly what are they spraying on the substance that they're selling. So it is a health risk in my view.
Then my final question, if this stuff is sold in Superior, what do you foresee as the problems associated with that? Like what's going to happen in your professional opinion in Superior if this stuff is sold legally?
Well, any drug that's made available, legally or illegally, brings its own problems. And my understanding of this drug is it creates hallucinations and some toxic side effects, paranoia, some of that long-lived. It's in the interest of the police department to enhance the security and safety of this community, and allowing more people access to an uncontrolled drug where they don't know what they're taking, which causes an alteration of their mood that can lead to trouble, is not in the interest of their safety.
Okay, then I guess that leads me to my comments. If actually, it's kind of a question too, so maybe you can help me out with this too. If we make this illegal in Superior, is that going to, in turn, stop people from using this in Superior? Or in your professional opinion, do you think that this is going to continue to be a problem here in Superior, even if we make it illegal?
Well, we haven't seen the proliferation of this substance here yet. If Duluth were to create their own ordinance, which I understand they're working on, to make it illegal to purchase and possess in Duluth, I would expect that market forces would say that there would be those who would make it available here. And as it becomes available here, more people, our children and children from Duluth, would access it and would cause the very problems that have been cited with the substance.
So I guess the question that I've asked myself is, what if we make this stuff illegal, it seems that there's an opinion out there that people would get their hands on it anyway. So the question then would be, would it make more sense to allow establishments to sell this stuff, but then regulate it in the form of you can't sell it to minors and you can't sell large quantities of it to individuals, just like they do with cough syrup at the pharmacy. You know what I'm getting at there? In your professional opinion, do you think that might be a more effective angle to go against this?
In my professional and personal opinion, the best answer is to make it so it's very difficult to get here, whether you're 21 or not. And I think the right answer is to make it illegal to sell or possess or distribute the substance. That's my opinion.
Okay, with that opinion, though, would you agree with me that even if we go down that road, people will still use it? They'll just be using it illegally at that point? Is that a fair assessment?
If we make it illegal and they use it, it will be illegally used. And certainly it still remains a possibility and a probability that there will be those who choose to use it, who perhaps purchase it somewhere, either illicitly, illegally, or they purchase it through a vendor doing business in a market that has not yet made it unlawful.
Okay. I guess just a few more comments. I feel kind of like we're preempting a problem that we don't know yet if it's in fact a problem. And I think oftentimes politicians or elected officials have a knee-jerk reaction to this is perceived as something that's bad, we need to make it against the law, and then that'll make us all feel better and it'll go away. But I think that we really should, this should be go to committee, public safety, to look into the idea that maybe it's a better idea to educate, spend our time and energy and money to educate the public on possibly the health risks or how this can affect our children. And then again, regulating it to the point where you can't buy this if you're a minor and you can only buy certain amounts. I guess that's a question that I've been asking myself, and I'm struggling with it, I guess.
Before I have Councilor Dahlbeck, I had a discussion with the distributor, and he already described this, and we had 3 people in the room who all witnessed this statement. He described the product they're selling as an epidemic. So even the distributor says it's an epidemic. I had Councilor Nowicki first, and then I'll get back to you, Councilor Dahlbeck, and then I think it'll be Hendry, and then McKenzie. Thank you. Mr. Nowicki.
It's my understanding through my father's profession that the city of Superior does not have an ordinance that prohibits the natural marijuana, the natural cannabinoids. Now, Mr. Bender, you said it was included. I'm not sure if you meant if that's included in a separate ordinance or in this ordinance. Do you mind clarifying that a little bit?
It wasn't Mr. Bender that said that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mertzik.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mertzik, you said that.
I'm sorry, repeat what you thought I said?
I'm not sure if you mentioned if the natural cannabinoids, you said they were included in this ordinance, but it's either in this ordinance or in a different one, but it's my understanding that the City of Superior does not have an ordinance prohibiting natural cannabinoids.
Well, I think I can help with that information. Student Councilor Nowicki. The City of Superior, it's true, does not have an ordinance on the books that prohibits the use or the possession or even the sale of marijuana. That conduct is prohibited through the criminal code at the state level.
Okay, but wouldn't synthetic marijuana fall right in there? I mean, it seems like we're a little out of order. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not speaking against this ordinance at all, but
the synthetic marijuana, the synthetic cannabinoid, whatever term you want to use, has not yet been regulated, banned, prohibited by the state. Other jurisdictions, yes, other municipalities, I think even other states, not the state of Wisconsin.
All right, thank you.
Actually, it wasn't me. I'm sorry. I misspoke. It was me.
Councilor Hendry.
Yeah, I just had a question on there. Kind of looking for an exact definition of cannabinoid, and I was wondering if somebody could give that to me. I was wondering if it includes more than marijuana, if it's marijuana-like plants, or I'm trying to get an idea of what you got in the ordinance here that we're looking at here.
It's my understanding that these products are organic in nature until they're sprayed by the chemical that we're seeking to ban, the chemical that Assistant Chief of Justice described as being behind a lot of these side effects that law enforcement is concerned about, and certainly the mayor is concerned about. So it's not simply as clean as pinpointing what is grown that is banned. It's more what is used to treat what starts as an organic material to produce the highs that the assistant police chief has described.
You could have a variety of different plants, and you can't really limit that down, but you define it by how the plant is treated. Is that what you're saying, kind of, or?
The chemicals that are listed in the numbered portion of the ordinance are what I believe to be the heart and soul of that which is causing the health problems, the accelerated heart rates, the vomiting, the marijuana, the organic marijuana-like reactions when ingested. Typically, I think the mechanism for that is smoking. So I think what's happening out there in the K2 world, or the Genie or the Spice world, whatever street vernacular we happen to be using at the time, with this product, is that it's grown. It starts as an organic product. It's got, but the chemicals that house all these, or that sort of lend to these side effects that we've discussed, are then applied to the substance, and then that chemical is consumed into the body, again, typically through smoking, when the product is being used.
Well, I think it clarifies it somewhat. It could be a variety of different plants then, or could it?
I don't know if people are rolling daisies or rose stems and spraying this stuff on it.
Right. That's exactly what I'm asking. It's you're defining it by what they're spraying on it, and if I understand you right, and I think that clarifies what was in my mind and what I wanted to ask. Any other comment, or?
We're seeking to ban the chemical that causes the ill effect.
Yeah.
How creative people might get about what they use alongside that chemical, or what product is used to house the chemical between application and inhalation, I can't say it. That's not a culture that I'm overly familiar with.
Okay.
But it's the chemical that we're looking to ban the use and sale of.
Yeah, thank you, Frog.
Sure.
Councilor Dalbeck.
Well, I was just going to say, I talked to a professional the other day, and she's dealing with 2 people who are on this drug, or whatever you want to call it. I have no idea what it looks like. And she said it's very addictive, and it causes many medical problems. Like Assistant Chief said, it's hallucinogenic, it makes them aggressive, and they're dealing with hard to take them off of it. So I think we're doing the right thing.
Mr. McKenzie.
Yeah, I guess I'm still trying to figure out how synthetic and is it? Yeah, but are they growing? Real marijuana and then spraying it? And like you said, well, you're not sure exactly. It could be weeds. I mean, synthetic to me. I mean, when you talk about real grass versus synthetic turf, like on football fields, if I sprayed AstroTurf with this stuff, could I smoke it?
What you're getting confused with, I think, both of these questions, it's not what they're using, whether it's an herb or a spice. It's what is chemically sprayed on that is creating the high.
So it doesn't matter what they spray it on?
It doesn't matter. So you're focusing on the wrong thing. You're focusing on plants and herbs when we're talking about chemicals.
But they're still saying synthetic marijuana, though.
Correct. But that is, if you read any of the articles on this, it's what they're putting on whatever the vehicle they're using to smoke or ingest this in any manner whatsoever. So that's why this ordinance has chemical formulations that we are banning, and we'll probably even come back to you with others as this world becomes more creative. So we can't get tied down to the vehicle in which they're using. It's the fact that we're banning certain chemical formulations which create high.
But you would still have to put it on something in order, like Frog says, to smoke it.
Correct. Correct. But it can be ingested in other creative ways, and they get varying different types of highs according to articles I've written. So we can't get hung up on the vehicle, we have to get hung up on the drug.
Yeah, well, that's why, I think the marijuana part, I think, is confusing. I think some people, cannabinoid or synthetic or marijuana, because it's not really, it doesn't sound like it really is marijuana.
It is not really marijuana, correct.
Yeah.
But we have to rely on some accepted terms to describe the product, and I think that's what we're doing. So, let's see, I have to go to Bob Finsland next, and then back to, and then Mr. Olson, and then back to Esther Dahlbeck.
That's all right.
Okay. Mr. Finsland.
I'd like to make the point, the reason for the ban is not because it's a health issue. We're not banning fatty foods or tobacco or alcohol, because they are definitely health issues. But the reason for this is the city of Duluth has passed a ban now, an ordinance, that it takes effect within 30 days. And the reason for doing this as rapidly as we can is to avoid the possibility of having a business established here in Superior and possibly coming under some kind of a grandfathered issue where we would have this business established, and then we'd have to deal with them in the present rather than in the future. And I think if we can accomplish this tonight, we'll at least get a step in the right direction. I think we should pass this as soon as we can now and get it done, and then we'll certainly have to make modifications in the future, but I think what we need to do is avoid these businesses establishing themselves in our community, and then we have to deal with them once they're here. If we already have it illegal to sell, to possess, to distribute, we can keep those people from being right down on Tower Avenue or wherever else in the community.
They said they'll be in our community. I met with them, so counselors, I met with them, and they said they will be within our community within 30 days after being shoved out of another community. So we are very much open to this. I'll go to Counselor Dahlbeck and then Counselor Bender.
Well, I just was going to ask the question, isn't this similar to what they're doing with these meth houses? Isn't that the same thing then? They're manufacturing an artificial drug or a synthetic drug?
What they're
And so we ban that.
What they're manufacturing is a drug that has not yet been under the radar of the FDA or those that regulate drugs. They're still studying this and trying to come up with a decision on this. But my understanding is this type of drug is coming under so many different formulations. And in fact, they have some that mimic crack, acid, and LSD. Now, the distributor that wants to come to Superior, if you don't ban this tonight, said that he'll be good to our community and will not, and this is quote, he will not sell drugs that will fry your kids' brains. It'll just get them high.
Right.
So this is going to be a moving target as we move forward with this.
We didn't have a hardest time as we're having now with the fireworks thing. I mean, that was a done deal. We didn't allow the fireworks to come in here, but we seem to think that we should allow this.
Yeah. Councilor Bender, then Mr. Mertzik.
I just had a couple of clarifications. First of all, a number of people have asked about marijuana versus synthetic marijuana. And THC would be the active ingredient in that. And State Statute 961.14 of the Uniform Controlled Substance Act, under subparagraph T, already bans the possession, use, or sale of THC or any chemically synthesized THC. And there were at least 50 substances under the hallucinogens section of that. And doing some other research just on THC, there are at least 60 formula variations of THC. And I noticed on the city ordinance that number 1 under the possession, use, and sale that are prohibited is the one that I would pronounce Salvia divinorum. And I don't know how it's really pronounced, but that's how I pronounce it. But anyway, on March 3rd, 2010, Governor Doyle signed a bill into law that made Wisconsin the 19th state to regulate this herb. And that the bill prohibits manufacturing, distributing, and delivering. So I would say, I know a number of people have mentioned tonight, if we make this illegal, it's already illegal. It's already in state statutes.
I talked to a representative about this very bill that was passed and signed by Governor Doyle. The problem with that bill is it doesn't cover all the chemical formulations which can be sold under the product we're trying to ban tonight. And so he said there's still too much leeway in Wisconsin, even with the most recent action by the legislature, in which this will cover a ban in all communities. Just had this discussion just a couple of days ago because I was aware of that law that was passed. And so we're being encouraged as communities to try to ban as many formulations as we possibly can that will come under the radar of the law that has been passed in the state of Wisconsin. The distributors we met with said, we will reformulate this overnight and we will make it legal in your community. And so this is a first step to address this issue under these formulations in this ordinance, and then we will probably be revisiting this as other formulations appear.
So as is the city's prerogative, we can take a state statute and make it more stringent?
Yeah. Not always. Depends.
In this case?
We are able to legislate in this area, yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mertzik.
All right. Councilor Finsland said that there is no apparent health risk to this stuff.
I didn't say that.
And so,
I said this is not a health issue.
It's not a health issue. I'm sorry. I misheard. I misheard you. So it's not a health issue? Is that at this time?
The reason for this ordinance is not because it's a health issue. The reason for this ordinance is to avoid these businesses becoming established in our community.
I just want to clarify.
It isn't because we're not worried about people's health. That isn't the reason for the ordinance. We can still be concerned about people's health.
Okay. I guess I would feel a lot better if we could continue this conversation to include some health professionals that can give us insight into if this is in fact a health risk. And I think it would be appropriate to have some professionals in here that could. I think we're going on assumption most of the time, and we're talking about chemicals that none of us can even pronounce, let alone know what's in these chemicals. So I think it would be appropriate to get some people in here to explain this stuff to us. The law enforcement questions, I also think it would be appropriate to try to learn from studies that may have been done or other jurisdictions that have either made this illegal or haven't made it illegal. To make this decision tonight on the information, all the information that I have right now in front of me is an ordinance that says we need to make this illegal. Well, I don't know anything about this stuff other than what I've researched online, and I don't know how credible my sources are online. I wasn't able to dig up any scholarly journals I don't know how, I'm just trying to say I don't know how credible this stuff is. So what is the protocol to continue this conversation at a later date with professionals that can answer some of these very important questions?
I'm going to say this as clearly as I can to you, Mr. Mertzik. They will set up shop in our community tomorrow while you dither with whether you know what you're going to do or not do. This is what they told us.
My question is, what is the protocol to...
Let me finish. Well, we dither with how we can do this or how we can't do this. We have been assured by the distributors that tomorrow they will set up shop in our community if we don't pass this ordinance. And if we've made any mistakes or there are any accommodations or changes we made, this council can do that. But I would rather err on the side of caution than make us a distribution point for this drug. Mr. Bridge, and then Mr. Finsland.
One of the things that strikes me is that, we're not going to fry kids' brains, we're just going to get them high, but they're going to get them high with things that nobody knows what they are. It's a chemical that's going to be delivered into somebody's system and nobody knows what it is. I'm absolutely shocked at the length of the debate on this subject. One thing that is absolutely not going to happen as a result of passing this is that we're going to cause harm or do something bad or cause someone problems other than the people that are going to sell this. There's no negative consequences at all of passing this now.
Councilor McDonald.
It makes me ill to think that these people can come into our community and sell this and have a statement like Tom just said. I have 2 young adult children and I would not want them to be involved in this at all. So I would love to see it banned from our community.
Councilor Finsland.
I'd like to call the question at this point and request a roll call vote.
Okay, we have a call for the question, which precedes any other comments. For a roll call vote, do we have a second?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Bridge, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, roll call vote.
The motion is to approve adoption of the ordinance. Counselor Olson?
Yes.
Counselor Bridge?
Yes.
Counselor Bender?
Yes.
Counselor Mertzick?
No.
Counselor McDonald?
Yes.
Counselor Hendry?
Yes.
Counselor Finsland?
Yes.
Counselor Herrick?
Yes.
Counselor McKenzie?
Yes.
Counselor Dahlbeck?
Yes.
9 aye and 1 no. The motion passes.
11.3 passes. Thank you.
Item 12 is business by public. 12.1, Nicholas Dance, UW Superior Department of Natural Sciences, is requesting permission to undertake a long-term project to remove non-native invasive plant species and to restore habitat on approximately 4 acres of city-owned property on Wisconsin Point.
One for Councilor Bridge, second by Councilor Dahlbeck. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. We do have one person business with public, but that's if 9.2 was...
No, that was Jack Hammond.
Oh, excuse me.
Marty, if it was pulled.
And 6.12, you're satisfied, Marty?
That was weird.
Okay, one goes Paul. Okay, motion adjourned.
So moved. So seconded. So moved.